Try Jesus, not me. Try Jesus, please don't try me, 'cause I'm fine. I know what he's saying. After scratch. So, try Jesus, please don't try me, 'cause I'm fine. I have no problem laying these hands.
Listen, have you heard it?
I have not heard that. I saw some of that on, believe it or not, on Pastor George Rich's broadcast yesterday. I had no idea what it was about, but I heard the ending part of that. So I guess that's something that's circulating around. I'm so lame and out of the loop on things sometimes.
I got that about 50 times on as from Instagram to my messenger. I'm like, listen, y'all, I know if y'all got it, everybody else done had it by now. But I guess they figure if you don't have it. So I to be honest with you, I never looked at it. I just see the same image. I said, I keep seeing the same image. So I finally actually listened to it today, and I was like, okay, I see why they're trying to say don't try me. Just try Jesus, but don't try me because I might put these hands on you.
That's a good way to open up the show.
And it's okay that people actually express that. They like, y'all, especially in the space that we're in right now, more people are like, listen, y'all need to go to Jesus because all this trying me right now. People feel like, we beyond that. We 2 steps ahead. You know how some people feel because, ain't nobody dealing with the more Karens anymore and all of this foolishness. So it's like, don't try me. I'm here. I'm fed up. Don't try me with the parking space. Don't try me with in the grocery store. Don't just try me as a whole period of thinking that there's some type of privilege that some people may have. And that statement right now is just don't try me. You know. And I love that. I like that. I like that song. It was cute. The image was cute. The guy had all gold teeth. Maybe in a gospel group or something. I don't know. Maybe it's a rhythm and blues song. Who knows? But I like the image though. Y'all just try Jesus, but don't try me.
You know, there are people that everybody's being empowered in this season. African Americans, of course, are being empowered to protest and fight for equality and things of that nature. And as you stated, the tolerance level for racism and just bigotry is really at an all-time low. They're just not tolerating it anymore. But on the other hand, there are some people that they think this is their season to really, be that bigot, to be that, the Karens of the world. And so yeah, it's just interesting the way our society is right now. And so people are trying you that, wasn't really trying African Americans, under certain administrations. And so people are being empowered in all various ways. But we are seeing a fight back. We are seeing a clap back, if you would. And so yeah, you're right. Try Jesus. Don't try me. This is not a good season to try people. It's really not.
Right, but just don't get crazy with it. Like when people try you, no matter what race they are, just don't get stupid with the response. That's what I tell people. I know people don't like people who try, especially people in South Florida, but just don't get stupid with the response that it'll cause you some type of consequences. I'll just say that if that makes any sense.
Right.
Yeah.
Thankfully I don't know if it's me or could be my wife or whatever. I don't really run into those problems that often. When
That's good.
people try me. Maybe I overlook them. I don't know. I don't really be bothered by people regardless anyway. So sometimes a lot of it is, in a lot of cases, people are looking for something. Is that I wish someone would type of thing. So if you're going to look for something, chances are you're gonna find it. But if you just
Ooh,
have the mindset of, listen, I'm just going to, somebody really, really has to be overly aggressive towards me for me to even pick up if you really try me. Because a lot of stuff people do and say don't phase me. So I know people are ignorant, and
right,
that's not a Democrat or Republican, and that's not even a black or white issue. People are just ignorant, and so therefore I don't allow myself to be built up, because if so, you'll be fighting and arguing and cussing people out every day.
right, 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 right,
So I tend to, as you say, when you know who you are and whose you are, and you know that I got a family and I got people I represent, I try to make sure if I'm gonna go off and pop off, it's probably going to be, everybody's going to be able to say, yep, he had a right to do that.
right,
Because if not, then of course, if you don't have anything to hold on to, then something can easily persuade you to do something real ignorant. So
right, right. So today, guys, is the ending of the extra $600 for the unemployment. Um, it's a shame. Everything is just such a shame. I mean, it's a shame that a lot of people are growing in things. I don't get me wrong. But on the other hand, a lot of people are in need. Even though it's $600, it's like $1,200 a month. If we're here for the state of Florida, because we get paid every 2 weeks, but some states are every week. So it's only $1,200. Extra $1,200 ain't doing a whole lot. You know what I'm saying? Is helping, and then the extension for the housing, the mortgage, the car payment, all of that has ended. So what are they doing now is bringing down the 600 to a 200. What are they
mm-hmm.
gonna do? If they saying that they want to get the economy back to where it's supposed to be, they want to get the economy growing. We want to get to be prosperous. They want to push you back to work. Get back to work, get back to the school system, get back to the way that we were. But the way we were was through economics. You have
Right.
most of these stores are closing. The Kohl's, the New York Company. Some of my favorite stores are closing. So now it's online. So now they say, okay, so do it online. We won't be available. So you're taking away jobs from those people. A lot of the stores, a lot of outlets. So I don't know if we're gonna have any malls anymore. That's a big thing because they lease these places. So you have a lot of
Right.
these other places like the restaurants. So now the people who are making more money are the people who doing curbsides or the people who selling from their homes. Pastor A, I wanted some barbecue. It was Saturday, but I thought it was Friday. When Sunday came, I thought it was Saturday. I have no idea how. I don't know. So I was out Saturday. So I called this guy. Everybody know him down here in South Florida. His name Germ. Jermaine Carter. I said, listen, some barbecue. Okay, I'm done. He said, have some more by 5 o'clock. Cool. So I said, I can't wait. Let me go over here to another little section. Hour and a half wait. Dang, I can't do that. Let's ride up to the Federal Highway. We still in Broward to Tom Jenkins. Everybody knows this famous Tom Jenkins barbecue. Hour wait. I said, you know what? I can't do this. I said, what's up with the right, right? I just couldn't get no barbecue. So it's just like, and I'm saying that to say it's the small places that are making more money now, are being more progressive with money when it comes to food than the big restaurants. You know what I'm
And
saying?
and a lot of it, and some of them are making more money. A lot of it is that in this time, a lot of the small places that maybe would have been able to seat people, even if they weren't able to seat a lot of people, they will be able to seat people. And it's in this season, especially in the restaurant business, you've always, I'm in the catering business, it was a little slightly different. But in the restaurant business, you always have to monitor what you cook, because you don't want to, at the end of the day, you don't want to be left
Yeah,
with a
you have
whole
a
lot of food
small
to throw
menu
away.
then. Yeah,
Right.
you curate it. Yeah.
Now in this season, in certain cases that's worse. You're not working with as much staff, or as you say, that some of these restaurants are being bombarded because it's all to go carry out, Uber Eats, DoorDash, those types of things. So they're being bombarded with online orders as well as in-person orders. And so therefore, everything is a wait. Everything is a wait. We ate at Cheesecake Factory the other day. It was a wait, but thankfully, by the time you order and get there, kind of that plays a part in the wait. But everything is a wait. But as you said before, the economy, in a lot of cases where there might be a rush to re-enter into the workforce, there's not a lot of job opportunities. Stores are closing. I mean, when you drive up and down, the streets, you see major buildings lying dormant. You're seeing foreclosure sales. You're seeing
Right.
final sales. Not only does that, the business is closing, but those jobs are closing. And so, I was at the grocery store earlier today, and I didn't buy a whole lot. Well, we easily spent over $200 in the grocery store today. So things are going up in the store. So if you're saying that the
Listen.
unemployment is being cut, then if it already in South Florida wasn't enough, that being cut really doesn't do anything. I think what this should have happened was there should have been an extension of it to allow people to go back to work and to allow the unemployment to stimulate the economy some more. Because let's
Right.
face it, we need stimulus. I know there's a bill out now. They're saying that it's coming, but
Mm-hmm.
the $1,200 didn't do much before. It's not going to do much again. There has to be a steady stimulus in order to get this economy back going, because nobody prepared for the economy to be shut down for the extension of time. Because again, we were always told that this was going to be a short closure, shutdown, couple of weeks, maybe a month, and we'll go back to normal. And now we realize normal is nowhere near what we thought it would
Right. And I'm gonna say this before I move on. I went to the store. I don't even buy a whole lot of things now. We just buy small things, because we eat lighter now because it is so expensive. We was like, okay, I was like, oh, let me make some meatloaf. I went in and buy a pack of 1 pound and a quarter. It was $10. $10. That stuff be like $4 back then. $10. I said, oh
be.
my goodness. I say, I see
Yes.
why people, and then you want to try to do the healthy eating vegan. I go in fresh market. I, I got one bag. I spent $30.
People can't afford to eat fresh, can't afford to eat healthy. That's always been a challenge for the disenfranchised. It's always been a challenge for those in poverty. That's why
Absolutely.
the Burger Kings and McDonald's are so popular in certain neighborhoods, because while we understand the importance of eating healthy, there's no affordability in eating healthy. And average middle class people are now running into that situation now where, hey, I know I need to eat this way, but can't afford it.
Right, right. It's so many 2 for 3 and 10 for 1 and all this stuff here is just and you're right, it's not healthy because it's processed meat and all of that, and it is making, and they say they want us to be healthy. That's one of the parts of being healthy is is eating right. Absolutely, Joy.
Right.
I can imagine. So, my daughter wanted to be vegan at one time. Then she changed her mind. So I was like, "Ooh, good. I was gonna support
Woo.
her, right? I was gonna support. I was gonna support her, but then I said, "Ooh, when she changed her mind, because people, yeah, like when it's 4 for 4, and listen, George, that little 4 for 4 do be hitting. Now,
Yeah,
you get what you want,
you,
but I don't know. It's just and I was just gonna say that, Joy, it breaks down our immune system, because one of the things they want us to do now is for the virus is to for us to be healthy in order for not to get it. A person can
right.
be spitting in your face, but if your immune system is built that way, you're not going to
Right.
contact it. And that's just the way it is. It's just like any virus. You know what I'm saying? And that's the sad part about it. So we have to keep ourselves healthy. People say, well, oh, that's why a lot of people don't want to wear a mask because they feel like it's up to you and your body. You know what I'm saying? Even though we still have to we wear the mask so we can be responsible for other people. If people don't understand why we wear the mask, it's to be responsible for other people that come encounter with us. Now, I try to do my immune system every day. I've been, since the beginning of this, taking my vinegar, taking my ginger, taking my turmeric, taking all these things and mix them together, drinking them and building myself up because you never know who you come around. Just, last week, 3 of my family members, they were all in the hospital. I didn't even know it at first, but then I found out, they were all in the hospital for COVID. And one person, is very asymptomatic. So, then the other ones were not. They seem healthy. They work. They do this. One person is a delivery person. So you think that by doing things that they were healthy or whatever, but I don't know. And then, my condolences to you, as I told you earlier about your, some of your church members. People seem to think that it's a joke when it comes to COVID, but people really are dying.
Right.
And I don't, and if they haven't had anyone close to them die, maybe that's why they don't believe it. Until know someone who's close to you, okay, this thing is real. These people are not getting on here saying wear your mask for, just to be saying it. Wear your mask because you might be the one that giving it out, not necessarily receiving. You understand what I'm saying?
Right. And let me say this. Well, first, I'll say, we've had quite a few people to contract COVID. We've had one that passed away. We've had a few members to pass. They haven't all passed from COVID. Unfortunately, when in this season, when you hear someone's passing, it's automatically assumed
Right.
COVID. And
Yeah.
so, I don't, I had to say that even for some of my members, I didn't want to freak them out. Like, no, just somebody passed.
Hmm.
But just it's just still not a good season for that. It's never a good season, but this is just even difficult. But I want to go back to something you said about the mask because there's a lot of misnomer about the mask. You said, which is true, that the mask is for someone not giving it to you as well. But see, the mask is also for you not giving it to someone else as
Right.
well because a lot of people are saying, it's I wear a seatbelt. I don't plan on hitting anybody, but somebody may hit me.
Hmm.
But on the flip side, I can hit someone.
Right.
It's an accident. I can hit someone. And the thing what makes COVID different is that you can have COVID but have no symptoms of it. It's not like the flu. People are trying to compare it to the flu. Well, I know if I have a flu, then I'll stay in the house. No, you can have COVID. And if your immune system is great, good, that means you're not going to suffer from it. That means you're not going to develop the symptoms from it. However, you can pass it on to
Right.
somebody else. And so there's a bit of selfishness in this. There's a whole lot of ignorance in this when it comes to masks because I've heard all sides. Well, I don't know if I got it. No, you don't know if you have it or not. That is the problem that people are having. And that's the reason why this doggone thing keeps spreading. Is because people are just stuck on the fact that they just don't want to wear. Who wants to wear a mask? I don't want to wear a mask. I mean,
Right.
I don't know anybody who wants to wear a mask, but masks are not new to society. I don't know about you. Every time I go to the doctor, every time I've been to the dentist, every time I've had some procedure done, that
That's true.
doctor has wore a mask.
That's true.
The doctors and the people in the medical field were basically telling us, hey, this is how we protect ourselves in the medical field. We suggest that you do the same thing. But for some reason, people in this country is having a problem with that. And I said to someone jokingly a week ago that while I have no plans of going to a communist country, but the communist countries are not dealing with this as long as we have. Because in China, when they said wear a mask, you
Yeah.
wore the mask.
Right.
And
Right.
if you
Right.
did not wear a mask, there were severe consequences and therefore China was able to get past this a lot quicker. And again, I'm not suggesting that their way is the way, but what I am suggesting is if we had have taken a page out of their book and just became serious about it, from the leadership down to the people, there is no reason why we wouldn't have been past this. But the
I
problem
agree.
is everybody has their own opinion about it. People have selfish ways about it. And a lot of people that are selfish about it, they're the ones spreading it. That's my
I
opinion. No matter of fact,
I
I
agree.
believe that's fact.
So, I agree. So the question is now is should we have another shutdown?
Hmm.
What do you think?
Well, I mean, the shutdown is not going to do well. The shutdown will be the only effective thing to do because, again, there are a lot of people that are not going to govern themselves accordingly. We shouldn't have to do another shutdown, but if millions of Americans don't feel they have to wear masks, then the only other remedy is to shut everything back down. And if we shut everything down now, I mean, for one, it's going to be a disaster for our current president, because there's no way he can survive another shutdown, which is one of the reasons why I don't think it's going to happen. Is because he can't survive it. He's already in odds with our governor. It's amazing how this works. He's at odds with our governor now because he can't come to Jacksonville for his rally because
I know,
now
right?
he's backfiring on the governor saying that he didn't shut it down long enough. You
Mm-hmm.
know, now he's saying that he basically should have took a page out of Cuomo's book in New York. And so even
He just getting on the on the bandwagon of what other folks are saying because he was the main one that
right.
they can get um commentary him. Oh, I'm glad yeah, we need Florida open, and all of these things here is he's just trying to find some type of way. It's like a and he just going all
Well, it's definitely
of
noticeable
what it
that
should
he has.
be.
It's definitely noticeable that he's been coached. His
Oh,
temperament is
absolutely.
changing. His rhetoric is changing. He's toning down. He even allowed a reporter to ask him a question the other day, and he was nice about it. So you can definitely tell that he's even though he's saying he don't believe the polls, he doesn't believe every. You can definitely tell that it's affecting him,
Oh
but he's
yeah.
now taking it serious. But this is where the childishness of his demeanor comes into play because now you want to take it serious.
Mm-hmm.
When hundreds of thousands of people have died, millions of people have lost their jobs, thousands of companies will never recover. And now, because it's months
Now he want to
away,
wear his mask.
right now you want to wear your mask. Now you want to
Yeah.
take it serious because your own people are starting to turn on you because they're saying, this economy, the entire country is not where it needs to be. And every place that did not take this thing serious, the numbers are exploding.
Yeah, yeah. So Joy said, should we be concerned about the opening of theme parks? I don't think any theme park should have opened. It's unfortunately that Disney is going to lose a lot of money. They have a lot of money. It's
Right.
very unfortunate that they will lose money or they feel like they'll lose their stock because Disney is attached to so many different things. But I mean, should we? I mean, it's like the our lives versus your money. We have to save our lives. I don't think they should open. They're opening for the fact of visitors, but at this point, many other countries are not. They're not allowing their citizens to come to America. For this case only, not to bring COVID back to them. Look at Bahamas. Bahamas was like, nah, we good. And
Right.
Bahamas need our
As much
export
as
right
they need us, as much
now.
as that says a lot right there, as much as you need, they need
Right.
us.
They need us
We
definitely
were
for a
helping
lot
them
of
up
things.
until February. I had a supply. My back our church was full of supplies to ship to the Bahamas right before COVID happened. We were weeks away or days away of shipping it, and the port got shut down. where we couldn't ship it there. So we were helping them, and now they're saying to us, we don't even want you to come over.
Right.
There's a professional baseball team um, um, in Toronto. Major League Baseball has started, and they won't allow the team to come back to Canada.
Hmm.
They
Yeah,
won't
don't bring
allow
it
them
here.
to come back.
Yeah, don't bring it here.
Don't
Yeah.
bring it back. And so they had to find residents, I believe, in Buffalo, New York, for the entire season. So countries are taking it serious because they realize America has dropped the ball.
Yeah, yeah, we look like a fool to a lot of them. And and it's sad because even the Marlins, I think it's our baseball team, the Marlins, they said about 14, 15 of them have COVID. So it's like, at the cost of doing all this. I mean, we're good. We didn't have it for months. We didn't have any sports. We didn't have no concerts. We didn't have no this or that, and we were fine. We were fine. So it should. Do I think that we should have another shutdown? I think so. Maybe 7 days at least for a shutdown. I mean, everything. I don't. I'm even talking about closing Walmart and all those places. A total shutdown. People get your supplies, your 7 days, and let that be. Stay in your house. Stay quarantined in your house. That's what I believe. If you want to see some type of change.
I mean, to do that drastic of a shutdown, if you definitely would have to give some lead time to that. And I mean, may be right. May not need to be across the
It can
country,
happen.
but in Florida, we
Good.
may have to treat it like a hurricane. We may have to treat it. We may have to treat it like we would hurricane. If Walmart had no power, we
Right.
couldn't go to it.
Come
If it
on.
was destroyed, we couldn't go to it. So we may have to give
Exactly.
some lead time. Hey, we're gonna say in 2 weeks we're gonna shut it down.
Yeah.
And
And I and
so
I But I believe that I don't see enough right now. People are running for office, right? For our primary offices, right? And I don't see them talking enough about it. I see them talking about. I don't really see them saying nothing about it. They get on these forums, everybody asking these same 5 questions. That's why I don't even have them here. I mean, I could have, but they're everywhere. And they get on these forums, and everybody asks the same 5 questions. So they give them the questions that they should ask, and none of them relate to what's really going on. What can you do as a politician, as a commissioner, as a senator, as a congressperson? What can you do in the now that we are? What type of influence can you have as far as when it comes to our health? As far as when it comes to our money or when it comes to economic empowerment, because that's what a lot of people are doing right now, creating their own type of job or atmosphere. What can you add value to the community other than I'm better than this person and I've been here longer. And I mean, even to say that you even been there longer right now, it don't even mean nothing. I'm just being keeping it real.
right.
It don't even mean anything. I've been here 10 years. Okay, well, what you did? Well, why you ain't saying nothing? Why you not trying to put something together for us? Why you not trying to fight or go to our governor, you know what I'm saying, and say, hey, this is what we need to do, or try to try to make some type of changes. We're in a space of Black Lives Matter and in our health. Both two are very important. I need them, and I guess I done switched it to them. I need them to be more proactive as a solution to a lot of things that are going on. You know, as to what's going on. Even just the other day, crime is crime. People say black on black crime, whereas white on white crime, call on color crime. There's all type of crime. Crime is crime. Let's get that out the way. There was an incident that just happened in Miami where there was a drive-by, multiple shots. I think they said 13 to 15 shots. As a result, a little girl got shot in the head, killed. Another kid got injured. And then I seen on Facebook, I seen a few people that was outraged, and I'm like, okay, so what are they outraged about? You understand what I'm saying? So what they outraged about, because the first thing they're gonna blame is who? Pastors. Where the pastors at? Where the politicians at?
Right.
That's the first thing they're gonna say. I don't see no pastors out here doing nothing. Well, if you don't see nobody doing anything, then you have to be the person that lead the way. You understand what I'm saying? You have to be the person to come up with some type of plan and lead the way. Now the person who said they had a plan, a couple people, and I said yes and okay, let me know, to see. I check back to see, but we angry at the moment. You understand what I'm saying? So we just say, oh, so pastors ain't doing that. We just getting their money. They just worry about tithes. They ain't even doing it in the community. Blah, 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 blah. I mean, unless they're going to get out there in front and take that bullet, I don't know what else. You understand
Right.
what I'm saying? Only thing that a lot of us can do as a community is comfort. We can comfort those. But
The
we
pastors, we burying all these people y'all killing. That's the first thing. That's the first thing we're doing. But not only that, you said it. See, and this is, I've gotten in trouble about this in the past because a lot of people don't agree. But we can talk about, as you said, black on black, white on white crime, whatever. But for me, what is not undisputed is the fact that crimes of this nature are happening more frequently in our communities. And I've heard all types of reasons. Some say it's economics.
right.
Economics doesn't, you could be poor. Just because you're poor doesn't mean you wake up and shoot up a neighborhood. I understand economics when it comes to drug dealing. I understand economics when it comes to even burglary, robbery.
Mm-hmm.
But drive-by shootings have nothing to do with economics. That is a
Right.
mindset in our community. Because when we come into the communities and the officers come into the communities, and in most of these communities, people know who did it. And guess what? They don't say anything about it. And so we keep repeating the same cycles because we
Right.
keep allowing these things to happen in our communities. And the people within the community don't stand up to it until it hits their doorstep. And we
Yeah.
don't speak up about it until it hits their doorstep. And
We
so
we, we
we have
don't. Mm-hmm. Let me tell you what we don't do, and you can. And Tanisha is saying this, not Table Talk Radio, not Pastor A, not anybody else. What we don't do is we don't tell on our kids. We don't tell on Uncle
right,
Bubba. We don't tell on our nephews. We don't speak up. We don't say no. We know he out there shooting. We know he has a gun. We
right,
know his rage. We know that he's in his game affiliation. We know
right.
those things, but we don't say, okay, there's a gang meeting over there. Oh, okay, you hear it. Say something. Who cares? Say something. You may
Right.
be saving someone's life. You might be saving your life. Who knows? We
Yeah.
don't say any. We don't do. We say, okay, community, community, community. We don't do these things enough as a community to actually put these people out there. Things need to be done. We need to talk about it. We have these community meetings. When we have these community meetings, write their names down. And I'm serious. Write their names down. You can do it anonymously. You can write their name and address down. You can do whatever it is that you need to do to save your community. And a lot of these communities, I always call it the apartments. That's how I grew up. The apartments. You live in a big apartment complex, black apartment complex with a whole lot of people. So you see a whole lot of things that's going on. So you know a whole lot of things that's going on. You know who do what, when they get it, who live with their mama, with their girlfriends, all kind of stuff. So you see those things. And those are things that we have to get past, that we have to actually report these things. We're not reporting them because I don't even know what reasons they, but we need to report them for a reason, to dismiss all the crime, to dismiss a lot of the sexual assault that happens in the neighborhoods. And also right now, what they're doing is, because of this crime, they thinking of a different plan, because it's just like you said, Pastor A. They thinking, oh, it's the economics. Oh, right now it's COVID because they ain't got nothing to do, so they're just gonna ride by and shoot. A lot of it is a lot of psychological. We scared to say that some of our kids or some of our nephews and cousins and nieces and whoever got some mental issues, you know?
But it is interesting how we could put everything on social media, but when it comes to cases like this, we don't. Nobody ever mentions it on nobody throws out breadcrumbs on social media. We put everybody's business out there. None of this stuff is ever filmed. None of this stuff is that. It's amazing how we can be silent when it comes to ourselves, and we have the power to change our own neighborhoods. You're absolutely right. We have that power to change our own neighborhoods by speaking up, by letting people know that they can't be around you in
Right.
this environment. We grew up, snitches get stitches. Those things were embedded in our culture. And so therefore we made it unpopular to snitch or to rat or whatever the new terminology is. We made it unpopular. So
Hmm.
therefore it continues to happen over and over and over again. And we keep seeing these cries for help, and we're seeing mothers and grandmothers on channel 7, channel 10 pleading for someone to say something. And
Right.
it's
Right. Right.
amazing how no one ever says anything. Black murders and crimes are probably the most unsolved crimes in the history of this country because we don't say anything. Some are scared, some, like you said, is their relatives, and they know they're doing it. This is
And
not a mystery.
some receive economics. Now I'm just gonna keep it real. Like I said, I
Right,
grew up in apartments. So some receive their economics from their kids or their brother or their nephew that's living in their home. So it's like if I do that, then I take their economics away from my home. So they think they're in a catch 22, but they're actually not. They're just in danger. Because if
right.
that person does crime, you in danger too. It is what it is.
And it's only so much pastors can do. We have to catch it on both ends because, as I said earlier, these situations end up on our lap because these families come into our churches for conference every Saturday. They keep the pastors busy already. Every Saturday, pastors are laying young people to rest for
Right.
senseless violence. Again, certain crimes, while I don't endorse them, I understand. If you feel like you're hungry, you had to steal, you feel like there's no job opportunities, and you feel like, selling weed was the only way to get out. I can comprehend that. I can wrap my mind around that. What I
Right. Right.
can't
Right.
wrap my mind about is just senseless killing. These are not killings where we were in an argument and I shot you. These are senseless, random acts of violence that keep creeping into our communities, and we're not saying anything about it. And, we're just losing innocent people on a daily basis, and we just have to get tired of it. We do, because I mean, black people, if we're saying we've been disenfranchised, we've been poor a long time, and we didn't have our forefathers
Okay.
didn't our forefathers didn't run around with drive-by shootings because
Right.
they were poor.
Right. 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 Say it. That's a good one. That's
So I
true.
mean, we can't just use that as an excuse. And it bothers me, and people get upset with me when I say that. But I'm like, black people that just didn't, this stuff didn't just start happening to black people yesterday.
Right. Right. Right.
We don't have. Think about, we're losing the generation of elderly people in the black community. We're losing the big mamas, and people are not living long enough to be big mamas anymore. we're
Hmm.
losing generations of people, and it's just sad to see where we're going to be in the next 10 years if this keeps happening in our community. It really burdens me.
So let me just bring this around here. So right now, uh,
But
during the
before you do that,
uh-huh.
I'm going to address something that you said, so I wanted to bring it up earlier when it relates to politicians, and just, I think everybody, and I think we've taken this cue from our leader. Everybody's keep waiting on this to disappear when it comes to COVID-19. You mentioned um, nobody's really wanting to address it because we're just waiting on it to disappear. And we just keep waiting on it to disappear. It's going to disappear. It's going to, even recently, President Trump has said it's going to disappear. At some point, it's going to disappear. And so nobody's wanting to address it. We're trying to so forcefully get back to normal. We feel like it's time to open up the theme park because it's just going to disappear. We're waiting on it to disappear and we're not attacking it.
Right.
And it's the same thing when it comes to racism and police brutality. We keep waiting on it to change, but we won't attack it. We try to temporarily attack it, but we didn't aggressively attack this COVID situation. And that's why we're in the state that we're in right now. Hey, I don't care if Disney World opens up. I don't blame Disney World for opening up. I bring the foolish people that go to Disney World
Thank you.
because hey, in this season, people will show you whether you should open or not. They could, as grandmama said, I can show you better than I can tell you. So I don't blame you. If Disney want to open up, fine. But the American people need to be wise enough to know I ain't going.
Mm-hmm. Right.
And so
Yeah, that's good.
when people go because they're open, that tells me they're not taking it serious.
Right. About taking it serious. I was just talking to someone earlier, and when the first wave hit, people was pretty much okay. I could do this. It's not so bad. But now from March, we're going into August, in a few more days. Monday or Sunday, whatever. We're going into August. So now it's more like emotionally, psychologically, I'm drained. Financially, I'm drained. Um, what am I to do? So quite often now I get a lot of calls and I try to encourage, and a song that I had all week was Falling in Love with Jesus. That song I send everybody. They tell me something, I say, listen to the song here. Get back to that love, because it's so much and you don't want to weigh your own self down. You know how it is. But it was okay. It was but now even like one of the reality stars, having this mental breakdown, we would say, well, they got everything, but because of the nature of being out there, sort of like number 45, he's a narcissist. He want to be out there. He's having a hard time because he's not out there, for people to see him or to parade and everything like that. So a lot of people are having a hard time now of being in the home a little bit too long, or not being out there like they would like to be, or feel like they're not in a financial situation where they think that they should be, even though they shouldn't be, really shouldn't be buying a whole lot. But it's getting to a state of depression. So we're seeing a lot of depression. It started out, but we're seeing more of depression now. Um, I don't know about you, as far as your members or people that call you, or even other pastors, because you got to realize they're not seeing their flock, as they normally would. I don't know if y'all should call them flock, but they're not seeing their congregation or people as they would normally see them. So they're not doing going out to visit in the hospitals, or seeing them seniors laugh when they see them. They be all giddy and joyful. That's what keep y'all up, the seniors, to be honest with you. They're not seeing doing things that they want to do, or being around a church that, so you have a lot of them now or having this depression state. And I mean, you could talk about, I just say, be encouraged. I don't know if maybe y'all should create some type of group, where y'all just sit and just chit chat and talk. But I think everybody needs it, and you being a pastor, I think as pastors as a group, they need it too. They can only do so much. Get on Facebook, do their Sunday, thing or recording, or if they're doing it live. But then after that, that's why I feel that some of them are wanting to open so quickly, because they miss people. It's not so much like I just want to do. They just miss the people.
Right. Yeah, we're at that stage. I was talking to, as we were I have to do 2 funerals in the next 2 weeks, and I was sharing with one of my members that just today, that ironically, Me preaching at this funeral will be the first time I've preached in front of people in 5 months. It's
Mm.
just,
Wow.
I'm saddened that it's a funeral, but
Thank you, Joy.
literally for 5 months, I've been just preaching to a camera, and
Mm-hmm.
we're trying to organize something. It's interesting you say that, and I haven't even announced this to our church yet, but we're trying to organize something tomorrow. Doing our, I'm going to do something different for our Bible study because I sense the same thing, that there's a fatigue going on, there's a depression going on, and usually I try to think if I'm feeling a certain way, my members
I
have
know.
probably been feeling this way for a long time because I'm their strength. And if I'm down,
Right.
they've probably been down a long time. And so I'm discerning that in the spirit realm, that we have to shift a little bit differently now. Because again, when we closed down in March, there's no way you could have told me we would still be out in August. There's just no way, you could have told me that. But here we are. And what I've always said during this season is, whatever devices, whatever your triggers, whatever your addictions, wherever those things were prior to COVID, it's going to escalate during this season. And so if
Right.
you struggle with alcoholism or drug addiction or pornography, whatever it is, it was going to escalate. It was going to resurface. It was going to be magnified because whatever you did to curb those things are in most cases are no longer available. Whether it was going out, whether it was traveling, whether it was going to work, or whatever those situations are, whatever you did, whether for pastors, whether it was just preaching. A lot of pastors preaching is therapy for them. You know, for a lot
Right.
of pastors, this is the first time they've been around their families. I know a lot of pastors that were on the road basically for a living. So this is their first time they've been around their family in
Right.
years. They were in revivals every week or at a conference every week or doing so. For a lot of people, this has just magnified some underlying problem. Similar to COVID in the health industry. A lot of people who are passing away, as they're saying, they're not necessarily passing for COVID. They're passing due to underlying issues, uh, you
Right.
know, breathing
That's true.
issues, health issues, weight issues. So this quarantine has
Diabetes. Yeah. Wait.
affected
Yeah.
diabetes, those types of things. And so and I want to read this. So for a
Okay.
lot
Hold on.
of
I'm gonna
people,
read it for you. I'm gonna read it for you. How do we encourage self worth, self value to a large majority of folks who do not wish to embrace God? Non-believers overall, we do not want to hear the religious relationship. So how do
wow.
you?
Well,
Mhm.
I think
Go
a
ahead.
lot
I'll
of
go.
people are seeking God in this season and not religion. And I think it was Kurt Franklin years ago opened this up to, he's always, in my opinion, his music catered to the spiritual versus the religion. That's why, he had a lot of issues coming out. And he's always said that this is a new generation that is not people not loving God. They're just not dealing with religion anymore.
Religion, right?
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And so what even this situation has done, it has put religion to the side, because we ain't talking about COVID. We're not talking about AME. People want to be encouraged spiritually. They want to hear a word from God. And so a lot of preachers have had to shift from a lot of dogmatic messages to move from a lot of hellfire and brimstone, moving from a lot of condemnation type of preaching more so to inspiration and information, because this is the season of that. You know what I mean? And so we've had to shift that way of thinking, and I believe God is being pleased with that, because let's face it, a lot of churches were condemnation houses. Let's just
Mm-hmm.
let's just be for real. And so it's interesting now that churches are going to be more open to people now than ever before. When these churches really open back up, they're not gonna care who comes. They're so, for the lack of a better term, desperate to see people there. And I think there's going to be a spiritual awakening, a spiritual salvation in the church where lives are going to be changed for real because more people are going to be allowed and accepted in the church. For the lack of a better term, I've been preaching to nobody. So
Right.
I'm welcoming whosoever will. I don't care if you're gay. I never cared. I don't care if you, because I'm just glad to see a face.
Right, right,
I'm
right.
just
Pastor's
glad
gonna
to see a
start preaching.
face. Right. I'm
Yeah,
glad to have somebody to preach to.
right.
I'm not here to condemn you. I'm just happy to see your face. So for a lot of churches, for a lot of people, we're gonna see that shift because we understand it's bigger than one person's problem. We all have problems. As the Bible said, we've all sinned and come short of the glory of
Yeah.
God. But we have spent a lot of time isolating people, kicking them out the church. And so God says, now I'm kicking everybody out.
Listen. Let me get this point out, because I feel it. I feel you in you. Okay, I see it in your eyes. So listen. So you can take a breath, exhale. So listen. You know how at a point, even myself, and I used to tell you, and I used to tell Rich, and at that time, LaWanda, and I was on this mission, and that was my assignment. How do I get these young people? Remember, how do I get these millennials? How do I get them? Right now, they're in the best space ever because they say, now y'all understand what we've been talking about? It's never been about religion. You understand what I'm saying? It's about just serving
Relationship.
God. It's about just serving God of who we are. You know what I'm saying? Yes, Pamela. I get that when he said whosoever. I think we all felt that part there, Pastor. Whosoever, and it is so absolutely true. That's why when I do my Wednesday Bible group. I have a mixture of women because some of them feel like they haven't gotten there yet, and I'm okay with that because it gives me the opportunity just to put a little bit of seed in them more and more and more. Now they know that there's a God and they believe that there's a God, and I don't want you to believe of just religion, just to believe in a religion or believe in a religion because your mama said so and you got to go at any type of traditions. That's why I love this space that we're in right now. I just absolutely love it. Some people don't, but I love it because they
Right.
give them the opportunity to say, okay, I want to do what I want to do, and I believe in God and I trust God, but at the same time, do I got to stand up? Do I got to do this? Do I got, a whole lot of stuff. I told you, even my daughter, and I keep saying it. We had that conversation. She was like, so, we're Christians, yeah, you know, but then she wanted to, like, well, what if I want to study something else, or what if I just want to read? Do it. That's what I told her. I said, I said, when they go to theological school or go to school, they don't learn just about one religion. They shouldn't,
Right. Right.
you know.
No. But and you brought something up, and thank you, Pastor Freeman, for that. We looking at views now. You look at your Facebook, you're looking at views. You don't care if it's a homosexual view, a view from a drug addict, a view from whomever. You're happy somebody's watching. And that is
Mhm.
where the church needs to be. I'm glad you came to service, my brother. I'm glad you're connected. I'm glad you're engaged. Because if I can get you engaged, then the word will do
Right,
the work.
right, absolutely.
So this virtual space again has eliminated condemnation because we can't check to see who's watching us. We don't know
Right,
who's watching us. We don't know the
right.
adulterer, the fornicator. We don't know.
That's right.
So it
Mhm,
has taken the judgment
mhm,
out of the body of Christ.
mhm,
And now it is people who are engaging more than ever before.
mhm.
Because
Yeah,
we are forced to give a word. You'll be a fool to give a word on some of the messages that people have crafted sermons around that has done nothing but damage people to the point where
right.
they don't want to come back to a religion because they know that even whatever state they're in, God still loves them, but the church hate them.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And so we're
Absolutely.
pushing all that to the side. We are getting people back to a relationship with God. And
Right,
that is
right,
what,
right.
that is where God has always intended for it to be. Not rules, as you said, the rules and the regulations. And I'm not suggesting that God's house shouldn't be in order. That's not what I'm saying. But we
Right, right,
understand
right.
that some of these rules and regulations we see in church, they're more stricter than, anything known to man.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
I promise you, when we get back, a lot of that stuff's gonna be out the window. Whosoever will, let them serve. We're gonna have people in the choir, we're gonna be just thankful to have them in
Mhm.
church because this is where God is. There's been a cleansing, there's been a purging, there's been a
Absolutely.
change in methodology, ideology. Even for some people, their theology has had to change and adjust in this new season.
And they had to study too.
Right, right. Right. Pastor Freeman, can you have religion without, and can you have religion? Yes, you can have
And
religion and relationship, of
relationship.
course.
Yeah.
You can't have but you can't, in my opinion, you can't have religion without relationship.
Mhm. Yeah.
It
Yeah.
has been nothing wrong with, hey, we call ourselves the Zion Church. I still affiliate with being Baptist. I don't think there's
Mhm.
anything wrong with affiliating yourself as a Baptist or as an AME or as a
Mhm. I
Catholic.
do.
I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I believe
Mhm.
the dogmatic rules and regulation for some people, and when we were considering changing our name, is because what I was telling our church, and they all agreed once I explained it to them, is that we were at the time Mount Zion Missionary Baptist Church Incorporated. We were not
Right.
functioning. We were not functioning as Mount Zion Missionary Baptist Church. In other words, when you think of Missionary Baptist Church, you think of old school, that was not our function. And so what I told people is if we keep that name, people will never know how we're functioning in this present time. So we're just the Zion Church. We're just a church. You'll come in and figure out how we flow. You either like it or you don't. But I didn't want the name to be a turnoff.
Right.
Just
Right.
like
Right.
Domino says, we're not Domino's Pizza anymore. Why? Because we sell more than pizza. We're just Domino.
Absolutely. And I
So
agree.
we're still the church. I wanted to, at least for us, I wanted to still be the church. We're the Zion Church. But those other titles that were connected to that, for a lot of people, were a turn off. Missionary Baptist. Oh man, that's just old. Oh, but we're not old.
I like that. Listen, I did missionary with my mom, my grandma. We went to house missionaries. And
And we still do some of the things
listen, by the
that
time I was
Missionary
25, I was
Baptist Church
churched out.
do.
Right.
We've contemporized some of. We still do a lot of those things, but it's
Hmm.
just like anything else. It's just a turnoff for people who don't understand that. All
That's
they
true.
know is when they think of Missionary Baptist Church, they think, like you say, their old grandma. They like, no, I'm not. And believe it or not, if you think about this, and a lot of people don't want to admit this, that's why we lost a whole generation to the newer churches just off name.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Most people cultivate to places with a name or that has the word community or has the word a fellowship church because they feel like they're more comfortable when you use those type of names, to come to a church. And it pretty much is. You use like or Calvary, Janie, those type of names,
A Potter's
that
house,
powders. It makes you feel more comfortable. Okay, well, I'm welcome. And you're absolutely true about that because, I remember my days, missionary, and yeah, I remember. That's all I say. I remember my days, but yeah, that was good. It was something I had to say. I forgot what I was gonna say. It was something about love, about what you were saying about the people. I do believe in small right now, and I'm gonna say this to some of your pastor friends and people who are listening. I do believe in small groups. We have small groups. I'm a small group leader, especially right now. I'm gonna tell y'all how we do it, and I'm gonna tell you how other people are doing it. Your men's, if y'all see other men's, or your women's, or whatever, you have that one woman person that does that YouTube. 30-minute lesson, and then you have your leaders, two, three, four, five, how many you have, or how many, two, five, six people, or whatever. I have 10 or 15 that's with that person. They have their Zoom, and then they teach off of that. You can do it through series. You can do it through Bible verses. Right now, I think our subject is last one's was the love and mind of God. I may be saying it wrong, but someone near that. But whatever it is, you can do. Yes, Janie says small groups are great. They are, because they're connections. But not only that, they can continue, because I have the same people from 2 years but I add new people in as they come through, and it makes it comfortable for those. Believe it or not, even in this season, people are still joining.
Yeah.
Y'all
Yeah.
hear me
That
out there?
that
People are
that that's
still
one of the things that personally, pastorally, that we struggle with at our church. I'm a small groups person, and we're working on building the confidence of our people. One of the things that we're lacking is small group leaders. You know, for my church,
they
and
don't
I would
have to
just be
be they don't have to be a scholar of the
right,
Bible, and
and that
and
and
all
that's
that
what I'm
there.
trying to get them to understand.
Uh,
And but you have to know more of the context of our church, and it's just funny you say that, because that's one of the things I'm going to be talking about tomorrow night. Is trying to birth, because when you're pastoring, you got to pull people things out of people that they don't know they have gifts and abilities and talents. And a lot of the newer churches, they are starting off in small groups. So
right.
small group ministry for, again, the older traditional churches, that's rare. That those are things that everything funneled through the pastor. And one of the things that I can't appreciate about the modern churches, even the Caucasian churches, one of the things I love about them especially, is everything does not fall on the senior pastor. That's why they're able to stay there 70 to their 70 and 80, because you know what? Everything them fall through them. They got 15 other pastors. They got leaders under that. They got so many things. They have been able to master the shrinking of the church. And for a lot of African American pastors, some of it's ego, some of it's people, but we don't shrink the church. And so therefore, if the pastor's sick, you in a lot of cases, you might well not even have church, because they only hear from the pastor. And so this is a season, you're right, where smaller groups are important, because pastor can't get to everybody. Pastor can't do 15 Zoom meetings a week. We need other people to come up with their own engagements, whether it's a spiritual subject, whether it's hey
Just
ladies, let's
chit
just
chatting,
talk
hanging
about,
out. Yeah.
right, let's just talk about what it's like to be a single woman during this season, or what it's talk about being a parent. Let's parents with, hey, let's just talk about strategizing how we're gonna deal with these kids doing it. There are just so many ways that you can develop these small groups, and it don't always have to be based upon the Bible. It doesn't have to be
Right.
a Bible study. These are
Right.
just small groups of people that are staying connected to each other in the body of Christ, so that you won't lose people in this process. Because there's another danger there, that you're going to lose members in this season, and you don't have to, because you're thinking you're going to lose them because you can't touch everybody, but
But let
you've
me
never been.
there is a and I think I shared it with you. Right Now Media.
Mm-hmm.
Right Now Media. Right Now Media is probably one of the best resources when it comes to learning or stories or series. You can teach from certain series. I gave you that information, didn't I?
Yes,
I did. I
yes.
don't know if you still have it. But as a pastor, they can get some. They can do a account for their members, and they have their own private where they can go in and they can read from the series of the books. I mean, there's so many different ways, and just like you said, for every group that we have, for every meeting that I have, I may switch the narrative. I'm like, "Well, how y'all doing?" We may just chit chat, or what's on your mind, or have you guys, we just keep it light. And also to for those who don't know, I've been doing ministry consulting for a long time, and that's one of the things that I do. So y'all can reach out to me, and I can help you, and I can help your church. I just wanted to say that. Yeah.
Yeah, this is a season where we can't go back to the way things used to be. A lot has to change, not just the crowd has to change.
Right. Right. Right.
Um,
Right.
some methodologies have to change. Some approaches to ministries have to change. We don't have to rely on the building so much in this next phase of church. Back in the day, anything that happened, it had to happen at the building. So the
Right.
building
Right.
was
Right.
open. The buildings, there's some churches it had to be open if 3 people was coming. You had to open the church for 3 people. You know, it's
Not
real.
if
It's
I was
true.
directed there.
You
No, we
know,
ain't doing that.
you know. But there are a lot of churches like that. I mean, there
Yeah.
are a lot of churches that had dying ministries, dying things. But for those 3 people, they had to open the church.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now let's embrace the technology. Let's
Yeah.
embrace the times in which we live, so that
And you
therefore,
know what? People are doing a very good job. From the beginning to now, I do see a lot of creativity. I even reached out because remember me and Dr. Lee, we was going to reach out at least 2 people. I reached out to 2 people. They kind of was like, no. Then I seen them, but then they went and got somebody. That's fine because my service was free at that moment. At that moment. But I'm glad that they were able to do what they needed to do because they know that they had to, like my daughter is driving now and I tell her, I said, you got to I said, you got to roll with the traffic. If the traffic is at 40, you got to roll with the traffic. If the traffic is at 60, if we're on the highway, you got to roll with the traffic. And that's the same thing. So now a lot of people are rolling with the traffic. Now I ain't going to say competing, but they rolling with the traffic. And I'm glad about that. And I'm
y'all
glad
ain't
that
gotta help me. Y'all see, I'm over here struggling.
you ain't struggling. Yeah, you got yourself down pat. Whatever, grabbing everything, the storytelling, all kind of stuff. Got your
Ain't
other nieces
nobody trying
doing
to
their
help
little
this old
thing.
struggling guy.
No, you good, you good, you good. You and Mount Olive over there, and all these other y'all pretty good. Y'all got y'all technology, y'all got y'all sounds good, so y'all are pretty good. So if anybody need anything, they should ask you guys, and not try to
And
struggle.
we're inputting even as we speak. We're adding more technology. We put more cameras in, more things that's going to help us present the word. Because again, we understand now we're preaching to the masses. The if your church is not reaching more people outside of the building than inside, you're not doing something right.
Right.
You're not doing something right. And honestly, that should have been the case before the pandemic. But it's definitely the case now. And so if your mindset is you're going to try to preach to those 50 people or 100 people or 200 people, you are missing a prime season of the church's life. And so, as we said in other things, as Disney World or whatever, the people are going to show us better than they can tell us. So we better invest in these things now, because
Mhm.
if not, I'm telling you, we're going to miss some people. It's not going to be because they don't love God. We got to stop lying. I'm just going to say that. We got to stop lying. People ain't running away from God. They run away from some of the stuff we're doing. I'm going to just leave it like that. I'm going to just leave it like
Well,
that.
leave it like that. So I got a couple of texts that said y'all ain't talk about politics today, and we only have an hour that we do. We try to stick to that time. So I mean
It's
politics.
not a political show.
Yeah, we talk about everything. We talk about politics, health, education. That's why it's table talk. We put it on the table and we talk about it. But I guess because sometimes we talk about politics. So I don't have much to say about politics other than everyone is pretty much doing the same thing. We I do say my condolences. We said it last week to the to some iconic people who were part of this nation. You have C.T. Vivian, and I know him, like I was telling those, from National Baptist, Baptist, and then we have Lewis, um,
John Lewis.
John Lewis, who died, and then they had a 6 day for John Lewis, and today they did lay him to rest. It was beautiful. I love the drive through. I love the over the bridge. I love the going down the Black Lives
Black
Matter.
Lives Matter, right?
They called it something else, like as if it's a I don't know, building, but the Black Lives Matter area. They even rode by 45, and then there was a thing that said that he didn't get out and he wasn't going to acknowledge him. We don't care. Nobody cares.
No, he's a
Nobody cares.
President Biden. Well, President, Vice President, hopefully President Biden. He went to the rotunda today to his body's gonna lie in state. And I thought it was something interesting. Speaking of politics, do we not know that within the past year or so, the John Lewis is going to be the second African American in his nation's history to lie and repose in the rotunda? Elijah Cummings was the first. I just thought that was just interesting that, up until recently, no black people
No.
was worthy enough, I guess, to do that. And so John Lewis has been making history all of his life, and he's making history even in his death. And so we give honor for that. And yeah, they asked the president, was he going to go down? And this is what makes him so crazy, because I would have just said yes. I would have told him I went when the cameras were off. It's just certain things. He doesn't even know how to be a politician. I'm just going to leave it at that. And so, but as you said, it's not going to matter. He's probably upset because he's not invited to anything official. And so he's probably taking that out on that. So we already know about that. But it's going to be enough time for the next couple of weeks to be political. Because it's going to be voting time in the next week or so. And so, especially in Broward County. And so we got to talk about that moving forward. But nothing has really changed in the political
Yeah, I'll
landscape.
talk about it next week. I'll talk about some of the people who are running. You guys want to talk about them? Broward and Dade state attorneys. That's a good race there. I love that race there, even for Broward and Dade. Boy, look at here. That thing is like cats and dogs right now.
Oh, it's cats and dogs everywhere. I mean, it's cats and dogs for Senate seats, for sheriff seats,
Yeah.
for
Oh
state
yeah, for sure,
attorney. I
definitely.
mean, it's cats and dogs everywhere. A lot of good positions are up this term. So
But I had a subject though, but it's too late, so I'll leave it for next week. But my subject was and I'm gonna say it because somebody was saying something, and thank you to that person. My subject was party loyalty versus party integrity. And I say that because I don't be trying to come for people on Facebook, but sometimes I do. But I'm gonna vote for this person because in 1980, somebody had wrote this. In 1980, they did this. They helped with the Haitian Americans. So somebody, one of them, they was like 1980. We in
40 years ago.
2020. What is you talking about? Like, are we
Right.
voting for loyalty? Are we voting for the integrity of what's going on right now? Like I said, I don't hear a lot of voices of any of those who are running to deal with what's going on right now. I mean, subject matters that's going on right now. Other than the race for our Broward, it seemed like it's just Broward police chiefs. You know what I'm saying? That's a major seat. But I would like, and I'll leave it here. I would like to see those who are incompetent, those who have left us, like a John Lewis, um, to even like yourself, what you're doing, um, to train, to mold, to have someone under you to come in and fill a seat. Because now his seat is gone. Then what? You understand what I'm saying?
Oh,
We got
I'm not touching that. I got in trouble last week for that. I'm not touching that no more. Yeah, I'm let
I know
y'all have.
your mama, your auntie.
I was called I was discriminating against old people and all type of stuff. Nope. Nope. John could have still been there. I'm not touch. I am not touch. Stay as long as you want.
No, don't do that. I need people. Is loyalty versus the integrity of what's going on right now. I like the loyalty that we have for our people, but when
What
it's
about
time to
party
use,
loyalty? We
that's
don't
what
talk
I actually
about
had.
that.
Party loyalty. That's what I actually had. Party loyalty.
No.
That party loyalty to people. So we'll talk about it next week, guys. Y'all want to talk about politics, so we'll talk about by the next week. Hopefully, they done gave everybody that next 1,200 or whatever, and hopefully they'll come back to the table instead of 200, give 600 to the employee, and hopefully they done gave everybody they PPP loans. Now y'all got these people out here waiting and all this here. They've been qualified. Give them their loan. Give them their money. Okay.
I didn't get the first 1,200, so maybe they'll double it up this time.
Well, yeah, you gotta check your address and maybe your bank account or something like that and see. Well, you
Man,
probably made
my
over. You made over the
my
amount.
my
You know, you made over that
my
75,000.
address didn't change. They try to make it seem like I went over the amount. I find that hard to believe. But my
Yeah.
address ain't changed. My bank account ain't changed. Ain't nothing changed. I just wasn't gonna get it. So
Yeah. Well, all right then, guys. Well, thank you so much, and thank you, Miss Pittman, for joining us. Miss
no,
Pittman,
I'm
one of
not
the
doing that, Miss Pittman. I got crucified last week for speaking my mind, and I'm not. I don't have any more crucifixions left in me.
yeah, the old people attack you. All right then, guys.
They
And thanks for
attacking me.
joining.
Man.
Thanks for joining the Tabletop Radio Show, guys. Remember to come back here on next Monday at 7 p.m. And we thank you so much. And we are out.
See ya.
Oh, Jesus. Oh, I ain't in the broadcast, y'all. Sorry about that. My bad.